For 6 years, I believed he was all alone. But then the truth shattered my world. His own children are the same age as me. Yet to protect his precious image, he forced me to destroy the 3 lives growing inside me. Now trapped in this luxurious Manhattan penthouse, I'm staring at a reality so dark that speaking up means staring down the barrel of a loaded gun. Can I ever escape the clutches of this powerful monster, or will I end up as just another body in tomorrow's breaking news? But the real questions are, how did it come to this? What twist of fate trapped an ordinary girl in such a terrifying web? How did 6 years of brutal abuse go completely unnoticed by her family and society? And where does this toxic nightmare actually end? Is there a path to freedom, or is it destined for a tragic conclusion? I'm your host, Sneha. Stay with me as we peel back the layers and uncover the full, chilling details of this story. The glass is cold against my forehead. It's the only real thing I can feel right now. Down below, 40 stories down, Manhattan is alive. It's a river of molten gold, red taillights and white headlights streaming through the veins of the city. From here, from the floor-to-ceiling windows of this penthouse, New York looks like a dream. It looks like the centre of the universe. People down there are rushing to dinner reservations in the West Village, catching late shows on Broadway, or just walking home to tiny, cramped apartments that smell like old takeout and freedom. I would give anything for a cramped apartment. I would give anything for the smell of stale pizza if it meant I could walk out that door and never come back. But the door is locked. Not literally. There are no bars, no chains. The lock is heavier than that. The lock is made of fear, of threats, and of a power so suffocating it feels like the air conditioning in this place is pumped full of it. I pull my silk robe tighter around myself. It's pure silk, imported, probably costs more than my parents made in a year back when I was growing up. Everything in this apartment is like that. The Italian marble floors that are always just a little too cold for bare feet. The abstract art on the walls that looks like violent splashes of black and red paint. Expensive, cold and meaningless. This isn't a home, it's a showroom, and I am just another piece of the furniture. I'm the statue in the corner, dusted off and polished when company comes or when the owner wants to admire his collection. It's been 6 years. 6 years inside this gilded cage. I look at my reflection in the dark glass. Who is that woman? She looks like me. She has my eyes, my dark hair. She's wearing diamond earrings that catch the city lights. But there's a hollowness in her face that wasn't there before. It's a vacancy like a house where the lights are on, but nobody has lived there for a very long time. I check the clock on the wall. It's a sleek, modern thing, silent. It doesn't tick, it just exists. 8:15 p.m. He'll be here soon. My stomach does that familiar flip, a mix of nausea and adrenaline. It's a conditioned response like Pavlov's dog, only instead of salivating for food, my body prepares for impact. I step away from the window. I have to be ready. Everything has to be perfect. The lighting has to be dimmed just right. The temperature set to exactly 70 degrees. A drink poured and waiting on the coaster. Scotch, neat, no ice. I move through the living room, my feet making no sound on the thick plush rugs. This apartment is huge. It spans the entire top floor of the building. You could scream in the master bedroom and no one would hear you in the kitchen. I know. I've tried. I walk into the kitchen. It's spotless, stainless steel surfaces that gleam under the recessed lighting. I pour the amber liquid into the crystal glass. My hand trembles just a fraction. I steady it. Breathe, I tell myself. Just be the robot. Be the doll. That's what I've become. A robot. A mechanism of flesh and bone designed to serve a man who sees me as an acquisition. He acquired me the same way he acquired this building or his fleet of cars or his political connections. I was an investment. I take the glass to the living room and set it down on the side table next to his favourite leather armchair. Then I sit on the sofa opposite it. I fold my hands in my lap and I wait. Waiting is the worst part. It gives you time to think. It gives you time to remember. I remember the girl I was 6 years ago. She was so full of life, so naive. She was struggling struggling, yes, drowning in student loans, trying to finish her degree while working double shifts at a diner. She was tired, but she was free. She laughed loud. She had dreams of becoming a graphic designer, of travelling, of maybe falling in love with someone kind. Kindness. That seems like such a foreign concept now. A relic from a lost civilization. I look around the room again. To an outsider, this is the American dream, the pinnacle of success. I am married to one of the city's most powerful men. He's charming, handsome in a rugged, older way. He donates to charities. He shakes hands with senators. When we go to galas at the Met or fundraisers in the Hamptons, people look at us with envy. They see the designer gown he bought me, and they see his hand possessively on the small of my back. They think it's affection. They don't know his fingers are digging into my skin, leaving bruises that I'll have to cover with makeup the next day. They don't hear the whisper in my ear, "Smile, darling, or you'll regret it when we get home." They don't know that the man they admire is a monster. The silence in the apartment is heavy. It presses against my eardrums. I close my eyes and try to find a safe place in my mind, a place where he can't reach me. Sometimes I imagine I'm floating in the ocean, just drifting, weightless, no pain, no fear, but the fear is always there. It's in the marrow of my bones. It's not just the physical pain. I've learned to endure that. I've learned to disassociate when his hands are on me. I stare at the ceiling, count the recessed lights, recount the cracks in the plaster. Though there are never any cracks here, everything is perfectly maintained. No, the physical pain heals, bruises fade, cuts scar over. It's the psychological terror that never heals. It's the threats. I own this town, he likes to say, and he's not wrong. He knows the judges, he knows the police commissioners, he has files on everyone. "You leave me," he told me once calmly while cutting a steak at this very dining table, "and I will destroy everyone you love. Your parents, I'll plant drugs in their house. They'll die in prison. Your little brother, maybe he has an unfortunate accident on his way to school. And you, I'll make sure you never get a job, never rent a home, never have a credit card again. I will erase you." I believed him then. I believe him now. He has the money to make problems disappear, and to him, people are just problems to be solved. I shift slightly on the sofa. My back aches, a reminder of last night. I flinch at the memory, but push it down. Don't think about it. If you cry, your eyes will be puffy. He hates it when I look messy. I glance at the elevator doors across the room. This penthouse has a private elevator that opens directly into the foyer. It's the only way in or out. There's a service elevator in the kitchen, but it requires a code I don't have. I am trapped in a fortress in the sky. 8:25 p.m. 10 minutes late, and that could mean anything. Maybe a business deal went long, maybe traffic was bad, or maybe he's with them. The thought sends a spike of ice through my chest. Them, the other family. For years, I thought I was the only one. He told me his first wife left him, took their daughter and vanished. He played the victim so well. The lonely, successful man who just wanted someone to spoil, someone to take care of. I felt sorry for him. Can you believe that? I felt sorry for the predator, but he lied about everything. He didn't just have an ex-wife. He has a current wife, a real wife. She lives in a massive estate in Greenwich, Connecticut, and he has 2 children, twins, a boy and a girl. They are 22 years old. They are my age. Let that sink in. His children are the same age as his wife in the city. I found out by accident. A stray receipt he left in a jacket pocket I was sending to the dry cleaners. A receipt for a tuition payment to an Ivy League university. The name on the account wasn't his. It was a joint account. Mr. and Mrs. I did some digging. It's amazing what you can find on the internet if you know where to look and have a few hours while he's at a board meeting. I found photos, family Christmas cards posted on social media. There he was, smiling, a genuine smile, standing next to a woman who looked elegant, poised and happy, and beside them 2 young adults. He plays the loving father there. He goes to their graduations. He takes them on vacations to Aspen and the French Riviera. And here he keeps me in a box, a secret, a dirty little secret he keeps tucked away in Manhattan to his real family. He's a busy tycoon who spends weeknights in the city for work. To me, he's a jailer. Knowing the truth changed everything. It turned my fear into something else. Disgust, a deep, curdling loathing. But it also made me more dangerous to him. If I speak, his perfect double life comes crashing down. His reputation, his political aspirations, his social standing, all of it would be ruined. And that is why the threats got worse. That is why the gun appeared. I involuntarily touched my temple, remembering the cold steel barrel he pressed there last week when I mentioned I wanted to leave. "You are my property," he whispered. "You don't get to retire until I say so." A soft ding echoes through the silent apartment. My heart stops, literally skips a beat, and then hammers against my ribs like a trapped bird. The light above the elevator turns green. The mechanical hum of the gears slowing down vibrates through the floor. He's here. I stand up quickly. I smooth down my silk robe. I fix my hair. I paste the mask onto my face, the expression of compliant, quiet waiting. I force my muscles to relax, even though every nerve ending is screaming at me to run, to hide, to jump out the window. The heavy metal doors slide open with a hiss. For a second, the elevator car is empty. Then he steps out. He's wearing a charcoal grey suit tailored to perfection. A black overcoat is draped over his arm. He looks impeccable. He looks like the man on the cover of Forbes magazine. His silver hair is combed back, his face smooth, showing no signs of the fatigue of the day. He drops his briefcase on the foyer table with a heavy thud. The sound echoes in the silence. He doesn't look at me immediately. He begins to unbutton his cuffs, his movements slow, deliberate. He knows I'm there. He knows I'm watching. He enjoys the anticipation. He feeds on the tension in the room. "Good evening," I say. My voice is soft, steady. It doesn't sound like my voice. It sounds like the robot's voice. He turns his head slowly. His eyes are like chips of ice. They scan me from head to toe, assessing, checking for flaws. Did I gain weight? Is my hair messy? Is the bruise on my arm covered? He walks into the living room, ignoring my greeting. He goes straight to the armchair and picks up the glass of scotch. He takes a sip, closes his eyes and exhales. "Traffic was a nightmare," he mutters. His voice is deep, gravelly. It's the voice that commands boardrooms. "I'm sorry," I say automatically. "I apologise for the traffic. I apologise for the weather. I apologise for my existence." He opens his eyes and looks at me over the rim of the glass. "You look tense, darling. It's a trap. It's always a trap. If I say I'm fine, he'll say I'm lying. If I say I'm tense, he'll ask why, and there is no right answer." "Just waiting for you," I say, choosing the safest path. He smiles. It's not a nice smile. It doesn't reach his eyes. It's a baring of teeth. "Good. I like knowing you're here waiting like a faithful dog." He sets the glass down and starts to loosen his tie. He walks towards me. The gap between us closes. My instinct is to step back, but I plant my feet. "Don't move. Don't flinch." He stops inches from me. I can smell him. Expensive cologne, stale tobacco, and the faint metallic scent of the city. He reaches out a hand. I freeze. He touches my cheek. His fingers are cold. He strokes my face down to my jawline, and then his hand drops to my neck. He doesn't squeeze, but the weight of his hand is there, a reminder I can crush you anytime I want. "Did you behave today?" he asks, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Yes," I breathe. "Did you go out?" "And no." "Did you talk to anyone?" "And no." "Good." He leans in and kisses my forehead. It feels like a brand. "I have a surprise for you." My blood runs cold. His surprises are never good. Sometimes it's a piece of jewellery that feels like a shackle. Sometimes it's a trip, which means being locked in a hotel room while he works. Sometimes it's worse. "What is it?" I ask, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice. And he steps back and walks over to his briefcase. He clicks the latches open. The sound is like a gunshot in the quiet room. He reaches in and pulls out a manila envelope. He tosses it onto the coffee table. Open it. I look at the envelope. It's thick. I look at him. He's watching me with that predatory gleam in his eyes. I walk to the table. My hands are shaking so bad now I can barely grasp the paper. I pick it up. It's heavy. I undo the clasp and slide the contents out. Photographs, dozens of them. I stare at the top one and the air leaves my lungs. It's a photo of my parents' house back in Ohio. A grainy shot taken from a car. My mother is on the porch watering her plants. My father is in the driveway washing his old sedan. I flip to the next one. My little brother walking out of his high school. The next one, my best friend from college walking her dog. I look up at him, horror choking me. What is this? He takes a sip of his scotch, looking bored. Just a status report. I had my security team update their files just to make sure everyone is safe. He emphasises the word safe in a way that makes it sound like dead. "Why?" I whisper. "I haven't done anything. I've been here. I've been quiet." "I know," he he says, walking closer again. But I felt a shift in you lately. You've been too quiet. Maybe you've been thinking about doing something stupid. Maybe you've been thinking about that little secret you know. He knows. Somehow he senses that I'm reaching a breaking point. I haven't. I lie. I swear. He grabs my chin hard this time and his fingers dig in. Look at those photos, Sneha. Look at them closely. Because if you ever try to cross me, if you ever try to contact my wife or go to the police, those photos will be the last memories you have of your family. He lets go of my face with a shove. I stumble back. Now, he says, unbuttoning his jacket and throwing it on the sofa. I'm hungry and I'm tired. Go into the bedroom. I stand there clutching the photos of my parents. My heart is breaking, but my resolve is hardening into something sharp. Go! He barks. I turn and walk toward the bedroom. I walk past the kitchen, past the front door I can't open. I enter the darkness of the bedroom. But as I lay the photos down on the dresser, I realise something. He showed me these to scare me, to break me, but he made a mistake. He reminded me of what I have to lose, but he also reminded me of what I'm fighting for. He thinks I'm a robot. He thinks I'm broken. He's wrong. I look at the window in the bedroom. The city lights are still shining, and for the first time in 6 years, I don't just see a cage. I see a way out. But to get there, I'm going to have to walk through hell, and hell just walked through the front door. The room is dark now, and the only light comes from the faint amber glow of the street lamps filtering through the sheer curtains, casting long, distorted shadows across the ceiling. Beside me, the rhythm of his breathing is heavy and deep. He is asleep. The monster rests. I lie perfectly still, staring into the blackness. My body is exhausted, aching in a way that aspirin can't touch, but my mind is wide awake. It's racing. It's travelling back in time. It's running down the corridors of memory, trying to find the exact moment where the path split, where I took the wrong turn that led me here, to this bed, to this prison. It takes me back 6 years, to a winter that felt colder than any winter before or since. I was 21 years old. I was a junior at the university studying graphic design. To the outside world, I was just another student with a backpack and a coffee cup rushing to class. But the reality was a crumbling edge of a cliff that I was desperately trying not to fall off. I remember the specific day. It was a Tuesday in November. The wind in New York cuts through you like a knife in November, especially when your coat is 3 years old and the lining is torn. I was standing by the mailbox in the lobby of my tiny shared apartment in Queens. The linoleum floor was peeling and the air smelled like boiled cabbage and damp wool. I held the envelope in my hand. It was white, crisp and terrifying. The final notice. My student loans had maxed out. My part-time job at the diner wasn't covering the rent, let alone the tuition for the next semester. My parents were back in Ohio dealing with my dad's layoff and I couldn't ask them for a dime. I had $42 in my bank account. I remember sliding down the wall, clutching that letter and just crying. Not loud sobbing tears, just the silent hot tears of absolute panic. I was going to drop out. I was going to be evicted. I was going to fail. That night I had a catering gig. It was one of those high-end agency jobs where they hire students, put them in black slacks and white button-downs and tell them to be invisible, serve the champagne, clear the plates and don't speak unless spoken to. The event was at a private gallery in Chelsea. It was a world I had only seen in movies. Women in backless gowns that cost more than my entire college education. Men in tuxedos discussing mergers and acquisitions while sipping vintage wine. The room smelled of expensive perfume and money. I was circulating with a tray of hors d'oeuvres, tiny pretentious things on crackers. My feet were killing me. I had been standing for 6 hours straight and I hadn't eaten since breakfast. I felt dizzy. The room was spinning slightly. The laughter of the guests sounded distorted like I was underwater. And then I bumped into him. Literally. I turned too fast and the edge of my tray clipped the sleeve of a man's velvet suit jacket. A glass of wine wobbled and spilled, splashing red liquid onto the pristine white floor and onto his shoes. The room went silent, or at least it felt like it did. My heart stopped. I was terrified. The agency manager was going to fire me on the spot. I dropped to my knees, grabbing cocktail napkins, stammering apologies. I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so clumsy. I'm so sorry. I expected yelling. I expected humiliation. Instead, I saw a hand, a manicured hand extending down to me. "It's all right," a voice said, deep, calm, reassuring. "It's just wine. It washes out." I looked up and there he was. He looked different then. Or maybe I just saw him through the lens of my own desperation. He looked distinguished, older, yes, but in a way that suggested wisdom and stability. He had salt and pepper hair and eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. He didn't look angry. He looked kind. He pulled me to my feet and the manager came rushing over, red-faced, ready to scream at me. "I am so sorry, Mr. Vance. This girl is incompetent. She's done. Get out of here." He held up a hand, silencing the manager instantly. "Relax," he said. "The room is crowded. It was an accident. She's fine. Leave her be." The power in his voice was undeniable. The manager shrank back, apologising profusely to him, not me. He turned his attention back to me. He looked at my name tag. "Sneha," he said, testing the name. "You look pale, Sneha. Have you eaten?" I shook my head, too stunned to speak. He took the tray from my hands and set it on a nearby table. "Take 5 minutes. Go to the kitchen and eat something. I'll cover for you." That was the first crack in the armour, the first hook. Kindness. He waited for me after the shift. I walked out of the service entrance into the biting cold alley, hugging my thin coat, and there was a sleek black town car waiting. The window rolled down. "I can't let you take the subway home at this hour," he said. "Let my driver drop you off." I should have said no. I know that now. Every survival instinct should have screamed a stranger danger. But I was 21, exhausted, freezing and broke. And he was a knight in shining armour who had just saved my job. I got in the car. The leather seats were heated. It smelled of cedar and leather. It was the warmest I had been in months. We didn't go straight home. He asked if I was hungry. We went to a late night diner, not the cheap kind I worked at, but a nice retro chic place uptown. We sat in a booth and for the first time in forever, someone listened to me. I told him everything. I don't know why. Maybe it was the way he looked at me with intense focus, like I was the only person in the world. I told him about the loans, the eviction notice, the fear. He listened without interrupting. He didn't judge. He just nodded. "You're a fighter, Sneha," he said, reaching across the table to cover my hand with his. His hand was warm. "You're carrying the weight of the world on very small shoulders." And for 2 days later, the eviction notice was gone. I came home to find a letter from the landlord saying the arrears had been paid in full for the next 6 months. I called him. I had his card. I was panic-stricken. "I can't accept this," I told him. "I can't pay you back. Consider it a scholarship," he said smoothly. "I believe in investing in potential. You have potential. Just have dinner with me. That's all I ask." And so the deal was made. I sold my soul for rent money. And I didn't even know it. The courtship was a whirlwind. It wasn't about love, not really. It was about rescue. He swept in and fixed everything. My laptop broke. A new MacBook appeared the next day. My winter coat replaced by a cashmere trench. He became my oxygen. I became dependent on him for everything, and he made it feel like love. "You shouldn't have to struggle," he would whisper, brushing the hair from my face. "You're too precious for this hard life. Let me take care of you." But there were questions. Of course there were. Why was a successful, handsome man in his late 40s single? Why was he interested in a broke college student? That's when he spun the great lie. We were in his car, parked by the river, looking at the city lights. He looked sad. He looked vulnerable. "I was married once," he told me, his voice cracking just enough to be convincing. "Years ago, we had a daughter, but my wife, she wasn't happy. She wanted a different life, a life without me. One day I came home and they were gone. She took my little girl and moved to Europe. I haven't seen them since." He wiped a tear from his eye, a single perfect tear. "I've been alone in that big house for 10 years, he said. "I've just been working, building an empire, but for who? I have no one to share it with. I just want someone to love, someone who won't leave me." My heart broke for him. I saw a wounded man who just wanted a family. I didn't see the manipulation. I didn't see that he was crafting a narrative that would make me afraid to ever leave him for fear of being another woman who abandoned him. "I won't leave you," I promised him that night. I was so young, so stupid. "Promise me," he said, his grip tightening on my arm. "Promise me you'll never betray me like she did." "I promise." 6 months later, we were married. It wasn't a big wedding. He insisted on keeping it small. "The media," he said, "they're vultures. They'll tear us apart. The age difference, your background, they'll call you a gold digger. I want to protect you from that. Let's just do it, you and me. Private." sacred. It sounded romantic. It was actually isolation. My parents were hurt they weren't invited, but I smoothed it over. He's very private. I told them, we'll have a big party later. We never did. We got married at City Hall, then we had a private dinner at the penthouse. That was the night I moved in. That was the night the door clicked shut behind me. The changes were subtle at first. Don't wear that dress, he'd say. It's too revealing. I don't like other men looking at what's mine. Why are you going to coffee with those friends? They're jealous of you, Sneha. They don't want to see you happy. They're just using you for my money. Slowly, methodically, he cut the cords that tethered me to my old life. I stopped seeing my friends. I stopped calling my parents as often because he would stand in the doorway, listening to every word. I dropped out of school because he said, why do you need a degree? I can provide everything you need. You don't need to work for anyone else. You work for our family now. I thought I was being a good wife and I thought I was healing him. But then came the first time I saw the mask slip. It was about a year into the marriage. I was cleaning out a drawer in his study, something I wasn't supposed to do, but I was looking for a pen. I found a phone, a burner phone. It rang while I was holding it. Oh, I shouldn't have answered, but I did. Hello? I said, a woman's voice on the other end. Hello, who is this? Where is Richard? I froze. I'm his wife, I said, confused. Who is this? There was a long pause. Then the woman laughed, a cold, bitter laugh. His wife, honey, I am his wife. Who the hell are you? The line went dead. I confronted him when he came home. I was shaking, holding the phone. I thought there had been a mistake. I thought maybe it was a prank. That was the night I learned the truth about his temper. He didn't explain. He didn't apologise. He slapped me. It was so fast I didn't see it coming. The force of it knocked me to the floor. I lay there on the Persian rug, clutching my stinging cheek, staring at him in shock. He stood over me, his face twisted into a snarl I'd never seen before. The kind, sad man was gone. The monster had arrived. You snoop, he hissed. You ungrateful little brat. I pick you up from the gutter, I dress you, I feed you, and this is how you repay me. By spying on me? She said she was your wife, I whispered, tears streaming down my face, and he crouched down, grabbing a handful of my hair, yanking my head back so I had to look him in the eye. She is history, he lied. Another lie, I would later learn. She's a crazy woman who wants money, and you are nothing without me. Do you understand? Nothing. If you ever answer my phone again, if you ever question me again, I will throw you back on the street where I found you, but not before I make sure you regret ever being born. He let go of my hair and walked away, pouring himself a drink as if nothing had happened. I stayed on the floor for an hour. That was 5 years ago. I should have left then. I should have run out the door and never looked back, but I was scared. He had isolated me so completely that I had nowhere to go. No money of my own, no friends. And now I had seen the violence. I knew what he was capable of. I lie in the bed now, in the present, listening to his snores. The memory of that first slap still burns on my cheek, a phantom pain. I look at the ceiling. The deal with the devil was signed in ink and blood. He bought my life for the price of a student loan and a warm coat. But deals can be broken. I turn my head and look at the nightstand. His phone is there, not the burner phone. He hides that better now. His real phone, the one he uses for business. He thinks I'm broken. He thinks I'm too scared to move. But he forgot one thing about the girl he picked up from the gutter. When you have nothing to lose. I slowly, agonizingly slowly, slide my hand out from under the covers. I reach for the phone. I need proof. I need leverage. If I'm going to escape this cage, I need the key. And the key is in that digital vault. My fingers brush the cold metal of the device. Suddenly he shifts in his sleep. He grunts and rolls over. His arm flops across my chest, pinning me down. I freeze, my heart hammering against my ribs so hard I'm sure it will wake him. He settles. His breathing evens out again. I am trapped under the weight of his arm, but my hand is still free and the phone is just inches away. This is the game we play now, cat and mouse. And tonight the mouse is feeling brave. The blue light of the smartphone screen is blinding in the pitch black room. I squint, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. He is still asleep, his heavy arm draped over my waist, and his breathing a rhythmic, guttural snore that usually terrifies me. Tonight it's the only thing keeping me grounded. As long as he's snoring, he's not watching. My fingers hover over the keypad. Passcode. I don't know it. I've never known it. He guards his digital life like like a dragon guarding gold, but I know him. I know his ego. I know that for a man like Richard, the world revolves around one date. I type in the numbers. 0704 July 4th, his birthday. He always jokes that the country celebrates him. The phone unlocks. I almost drop it. A wave of adrenaline crashes through me, making my hands shake so hard the screen blurs. I carefully, agonizingly, slowly slide out from under his arm. He grunts, shifting slightly. I freeze, holding my breath until my lungs burn. He settles back into the pillow. I slip out of bed and creep into the bathroom, closing the door until it's just a crack, enough to let in a sliver of darkness but hide the glow of the phone. I don't have much time. I go straight to the photos. There are hundreds. Photos of construction sites, blueprints, boring board meetings, and then I see it. A folder labelled home, not penthouse, home. I tap it. The first image hits me like a physical blow. It's Richard. He's wearing a ridiculous Christmas sweater, something he would never, ever wear in the city. He's holding a glass of eggnog, his arm around a woman. She's beautiful, sophisticated. She has silver blonde hair cut in a chic bob, wearing pearls. She looks like old money. She looks like a queen. I scroll faster now. Richard and the woman in Paris, Richard and the woman at a vineyard, and then the children. The breath leaves my body. I have to lean against the cold marble sink to keep from collapsing. I knew about the children. I knew they existed, but in my head they were abstract concepts, little kids maybe, or faceless teenagers. The photo on the screen shows a graduation ceremony. Richard is standing proudly between two young adults in caps and gowns. The boy is tall, handsome, looking exactly like a younger version of Richard. The girl, I bring the phone closer to my face, my eyes widening in horror. The girl has long, dark hair. She has high cheekbones. She has a slender build. She looks like me. The realization makes me want to vomit. I scroll to the next photo. It's a close-up of the girl. She's smiling, holding a diploma from Yale. She is 22 years old. I'm 27 now. When Richard met me, I was 21. He didn't just want a mistress. He didn't just want a young wife. He went out and found a girl who looked like a broke, desperate version of his own daughter. The sickness rises in my throat. This isn't just adultery. This is something far more twisted. This is pathology. I check the metadata on the photo. The location is tagged 142 Crestwood Lane, Greenwich, Connecticut. I memorise it. 142 Crestwood Lane. I quickly close the apps, wipe my fingerprints off the screen with the hem of my nightgown and creep back into the bedroom. I place the phone exactly where it was on the nightstand. I slide back into bed, shivering violently. The next morning, he announces he has a business trip. London, he says, adjusting his silk tie in the mirror. I'll be gone for 3 days. Behave yourself. He kissed me on the forehead, a cold, dry peck, and leaves. As soon as the elevator doors close, I move. I don't have access to his bank accounts. I don't have a credit card, but for 6 years I've been skimming. When he sends me to the gourmet grocery store with cash, I buy generic brands and pocket the difference. I've been stashing bills inside the hollow metal rod of the closet curtain. It's not much, maybe $400, but it's enough for a train ticket. I dress in the plainest clothes I own. Loose jeans, a grey hoodie, sunglasses. I look like a student again. I look like her. I take the service elevator. The code I stole from a maintenance worker's notepad a year ago still works. I step out into the alleyway, the smell of garbage and exhaust fumes hitting me like perfume. It smells like freedom. Grand Central Terminal is a chaotic ocean of noise. I keep my head down, terrified that one of his people might see me. He always says he has eyes everywhere. I buy a ticket to Greenwich on the Metro North Line. The train ride takes 45 minutes. 45 minutes to travel from my hell to his heaven. When I get off at the Greenwich station, the air is different. It's cleaner. It smells of manicured lawns and Long Island Sound. I take a taxi to Crestwood Lane. You visiting family? The driver asks, eyeing me in the rearview mirror. Something like that, I whisper. He drops me off at the corner. I walk the rest of the way. The houses here are massive. Estates set back from the road behind iron gates and high hedges. It's quiet, unnervingly quiet. And then I see it, number 142. It's not a house. It's a mansion. A sprawling colonial estate with white pillars and black shutters. A meticulously landscaped lawn that stretches out like a green carpet. There's a basketball hoop in the driveway, a bicycle leaning against the porch. It looks normal. It looks happy. I hide behind a large oak tree across the street. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. I wait. An hour passes too. My legs are cramping. Maybe no one is home. Maybe they're all in London with him. Then a black SUV turns into the driveway. The garage door opens. I hold my breath. The driver's door opens and Richard steps out. He's not wearing a suit. He's wearing khaki shorts and a polo shirt. He looks relaxed. He looks soft. He's laughing at something someone said in the car. The passenger door opens. The woman from the photos steps out. She's carrying grocery bags. Richard walks over, takes the bags from her and kisses her. Not a cold peck, a real kiss on the lips. He says something and she swats his arm playfully. They look like the perfect couple. Then the back doors open. The twins jump out. The boy is tossing a football to himself. The girl, seeing her in real life is worse than the photo. She's wearing yoga pants and a university hoodie. She has her hair in a messy bun. She walks with a bounce in her step, a confidence that I used to have before he beat it out of me. Dad, go long, the boy shouts. Richard, my husband, my tormentor, the man who held a gun to my head, drops the grocery bags and runs backward on the lawn laughing. You think you can take me, champ? He catches the ball. He spikes it on the grass. The family cheers. I slide down the trunk of the tree, sitting in the dirt, tears streaming down my face behind my sunglasses. This is the business trip. He didn't go to London. He came home. He isn't a lonely man with a tragic past. He is a sociopath living two distinct lives. In the city, he is the dark king, the abuser, the controller. Here he is the suburban dad, the loving husband, the pillar of the community. And the worst part, he treats them with such tenderness. I watch as the girl, his daughter, runs up to him and hugs him. He wraps his arms around her, lifting her off her feet. He strokes her hair. The same hand that strokes her hair is the hand that choked me last week until I passed out. The same voice that is laughing, I love you, sweetie, is the voice that whispers, you are worthless, into my ear. I look at the girl again. We are the same height, same build, same hair colour. Suddenly, a memory flashes in my mind. A night from 3 years ago. Richard brought me a hoodie, a university hoodie. Wear this, he had said. Put your hair up in a bun. I didn't understand then. I thought it was just a weird role play. Now I know he was pretending I was her. He was turning me into a copy of the daughter he loves so he could possess her in a way that society forbids. I clap a hand over my mouth to stifle a scream. The horror is absolute. It's not just abuse. It's incest by proxy. I am the vessel for his sickest fantasies. I watch them go inside the house. The heavy oak door closes, shutting out the world, shutting out me. I sit there for a long time. The sun starts to dip lower. The shadows of the trees lengthen, reaching towards me like dark fingers. I should go to the police right now. I should walk up to that door and ring the bell and scream the truth until the windows shatter. But I can't. I touch my purse. I have no proof, just a crazy story from a mistress. He's a pillar of this community. He has lawyers who play golf with the judges. He would spin it. He would say I'm a stalker. He would say I'm mentally unstable. And with his money and my lack of it, who would they believe? And if I expose him, he promised to kill my parents. Accidents happen, he had said. I look at that house one last time. It looks so sturdy, so impenetrable. But every house has a foundation, and every foundation can be cracked. I stand up, dusting the dirt off my jeans. I'm not crying anymore. The tears have dried up, leaving something hard and gritty behind. I know his secret now. I know where his heart lives. It doesn't live in the penthouse. It lives here inside those 4 people. He thinks he has all the power because he holds my life in his hands, but he's wrong. I hold his real life in mine. I turn around and start walking back toward the train station. My steps are faster now. I have to get back to the city before nightfall. I have to be sitting on that sofa in my silk robe with his scotch waiting when he returns from London in 2 days. I have to play the part. I have to be the robot. But the robot has a glitch now. The robot has a mission. I'm not just going to escape. I'm going to burn that double life to the ground. As I sit on the train, watching the green suburbs fade back into the grey industrial sprawl of the city, I touch my stomach. The place where 3 lives were snuffed out. for his image, he said, for his reputation. He killed my children to protect the life I just saw. He killed them so that perfect girl in the hoodie wouldn't have to know her father is a monster. Rage, hot and blinding, floods my veins. It burns away the fear. Enjoy your family dinner, Richard, I whisper to the empty seat beside me. Enjoy it while you can, because I'm coming for them, not to hurt them, but to make sure they know exactly who is carving the turkey. The train enters the tunnel, plunging into darkness. We are back in the underground, back in the belly of the beast. But this time, I'm not bringing fear back with me. I'm bringing a match. That sound, that innocent, cheerful two-note chime. In any other building, in any other life, it means you've arrived. It means welcome home. Here in the penthouse, it sounds like the bell at the start of a boxing match or an execution. I am standing in the foyer. I am wearing the navy blue cocktail dress he likes. My hair is pinned up. My makeup is flawless, covering the dark circles that no amount of expensive eye cream can fix. I am the welcoming committee of one. The doors slide open. Honey, I'm home, Richard announces. He's carrying a Harrods bag. London. He's committing to the bit. He walks in, bringing the smell of cold air and expensive cologne with him. He drops the bag on the console table and opens his arms. I walk into them. I have to. It's part of the choreography. I hug him. I smell his jacket. Beneath the cologne, I hunt for scents. Do I smell the grass from the Connecticut lawn? Do I smell the vanilla perfume of his real wife or the sweat from playing football with his son? I smell nothing but the dry cleaning chemicals. He is thorough. He is a professional liar. How was London? I ask, pulling away. My voice is steady. I am an actress now, performing for an audience of one. Exhausting, he sighs, loosening his tie. Meetings ran late every night. The jet lag is killing me, but I brought you something. He reaches into the Harrods bag and pulls out a box of English breakfast tea and a cashmere scarf. It was chilly in the city. I thought of you. I take the scarf. It's soft, grey, beautiful. It's also a lie. He probably bought this at a boutique in Greenwich before driving back into the city. Or maybe he keeps a stash of international gifts in his office for exactly this purpose. Thank you, I say. It's beautiful. You seem distant, he says, his eyes narrowing slightly. He has the instincts of a shark. He can sense a change in the water pressure. Just a headache, I lie. I missed you. The words taste like ash in my mouth. I missed you too, he says, running a finger down my bare arm. Let's get a drink. We move to the living room. The ritual begins. The scotch, the silence, the inspection. People ask, in my head at least, why I don't just leave? Why don't I just run out the door when he's in the bathroom? Why don't I scream for help from the balcony? They don't understand the invisible chains. Richard didn't just marry me. He incorporated me. He annexed me. I have no bank account. He gives me cash and I have to provide receipts for every penny. If a receipt is missing, there is consequences. I have no credit history. In America, if you don't have a credit score, you are a ghost. You can't rent an apartment. You can't buy a car. You can't even get a cell phone plan. He made sure of that. When we got married, he consolidated my debts, paid them off and closed my accounts. To simplify things, he said. I am legally a dependent, a child in the eyes of the financial system. And then there is the legal threat. One night, about 2 years ago, I tried to pack a bag. He caught me. He didn't hit me that time. Instead, he sat me down and opened a file folder. Do you know what this is? He asked calmly. It was a draft of a legal complaint. Grand larceny, embezzlement. I have transferred $50,000 into an offshore account in your name, he explained, sipping his drink. If you leave, I will trigger an investigation. I have a paper trail that shows you stealing from my company. You will go to prison, Sneha. Federal prison. For 10 years? That's a lie, I had screamed. I never took anything. Who will they believe? He smiled. The billionaire philanthropist or the former waitress with a history of debt? He leaned in close. And while you are in prison, what do you think will happen to your parents? I own the bank that holds their mortgage. I can foreclose on them tomorrow. I can make them homeless in their 60s. That was the moment the door truly locked. That was the moment I realised the penthouse wasn't a home. It was a detention centre. What are you thinking about? Richard's voice snaps me back to the present. He is sitting in his chair watching me. He hates it when I drift off. He wants my full attention. He wants to be the sun in my solar system. I was thinking about dinner, I say quickly. I made the roast you like. Come here. he says. So I stand up and walk over to him. I stand between his knees. He looks up at me, his eyes cold and assessing. You look thin, he says. He puts his hands on my hips. His grip is tight, too tight. Are you eating? Yes. Are you lying to me? No. He squeezes harder. My skin burns under his fingers. I don't like liars, Sneha. You know that. Liars get punished. He pulls me down onto his lap and I sit there stiff as a board. I am a doll, a mannequin. You know, he whispers into my neck, I do everything for you. I give you this life, this view, these clothes. And sometimes I feel like you're not grateful. I am grateful, I whisper. Show me. The next hour is a blur. I detach. I leave my body. I float up to the ceiling and look down at the woman on the sofa. I watch her submit. I watch her nod. I watch her endure. He doesn't make love. He takes inventory. He uses my body like a stress ball, squeezing, biting, leaving marks in places that are covered by clothing. It's not about pleasure for him. It's about dominance. It's about reminding me that I am flesh and blood and he is the owner of that flesh and blood. When it's over, he pushes me away. He adjusts his clothes and goes to pour another drink. I sit up, pulling my dress back together. I feel dirty. I feel hollowed out. I'm going to take a shower, I say, my voice trembling. Don't take too long, he calls after me. We have a dinner reservation at Le Bernardin at 9. I walk into the bathroom and lock the door. I turn on the shower, making the water as hot as I can stand. I step in, not waiting for the steam to fill the room. I scrub my skin until it's red. I want to scrub him off. I want to scrub the smell of his London trip off me. I look at my body in the mirror. There is a bruise forming on my hip, shaped like his thumb. There is another on my upper arm. These are the receipts of my marriage. I think about the gun, the one he keeps in the safe in his study, the one he showed me. If you ever try to destroy me, he had said, pressing the cold metal against my temple, I will end you and I will make it look like a suicide. Depressed wife jumps from penthouse. It's a tragic headline, isn't it? The papers will eat it up. He has written the script for my death, but he doesn't know I've written a new script. I step out of the shower and wrap a towel around myself. I look at my face in the mirror. The steam has made my cheeks flush. I look alive. I think of the girl in Connecticut, the daughter. Does she know her father is a rapist? Does she know he is a monster? No, to her he is the hero who taught her to throw a football. The anger flares up in my chest again. It's a clean, hot burn. It's better than the fear. I have to be smart. I can't just run. He has my parents. He has the legal system. He has the money. I need something he can't buy. I need the truth. I need to get that phone again. But more than that, I need to get into his office. The physical office in the city. That's where the real files are, the blackmail material he uses on politicians, the illegal tax evasions, the proof of the offshore accounts he threatened me with. If I can get that, I can trade it, my freedom for your silence. But getting into his office is impossible. It's a fortress. Key cards, biometrics, security guards. Unless I am the devoted wife bringing her hard-working husband a late-night dinner. I start to formulate a plan. It's dangerous. It's reckless. But I am drowning and I will grab onto anything that floats. I dry my hair. I put on the expensive jewellery he bought me. I put on the shoes that pinch my toes. I walk out into the bedroom. He is buttoning a fresh shirt. He looks at me in the mirror. Better, he says. You look presentable. Richard, I say. He turns. I was thinking, I say, forcing a smile. Next week is your company anniversary, the big gala. Yes? He looks suspicious. I want to help, I say. I want to be more involved. I'm tired of just sitting at home. I want to be the perfect hostess. Maybe I could come by the office next week, go over the guest list with your assistant. He studies me. He's looking for the trap, but he's also an egoist. He loves the idea of me serving him, of me playing the role of the trophy wife in public. You want to work? He chuckles. That's cute. Not work, I say, stepping closer and fixing his collar. Support. I want to make you look good. He smiles. Arrogance radiates off him. Well, I suppose that wouldn't hurt. You can come by on Tuesday, but don't get in the way. I won't, I promise. I'll be invisible. Invisible, just like the chains. He grabs his jacket. Let's go. I'm starving. We walk to the elevator. He puts his hand on the small of my back, and it looks possessive to the world. To me, it feels like the barrel of a gun. We step into the elevator. The doors close. As we descend 40 floors, I look at our reflection in the polished brass doors. We look like a power couple, but inside I am screaming. And inside I am plotting, because there is one thing he forgot, and one thing all tyrants forget. You can break a person's bones, you can break their spirit, you can steal their money and their name, but you cannot stop them from hating you. And hate Hate is a powerful fuel. Tonight I will eat his dinner. I will smile at his jokes. I will let him show me off to the maitre d'. But soon I will make him pay for the 6 years of terror and for the 3 lives he stole from me. The thought of them, my unborn babies, hits me sudden and sharp. That is the deepest wound, the one that never scabs over. I touch my stomach again, a subconscious habit. He catches the movement. Stop that, he snaps, low and harsh. Stop touching yourself like that. It looks neurotic. I drop my hand. Sorry, I whisper. You better not be pregnant again, he mutters, staring at the floor indicators, counting down. I told you. No complications. We are happy, just the 2 of us. I know, I say it at the time. But my mind drifts to the clinic, to the cold stirrups, to the sound of the suction machine, to the doctor who didn't look me in the eye because he was paid in cash to not ask questions. That is where the real horror lives, not in the threats of prison, but in the erasure of life. And that is where we are going next. In my mind, I am walking back into that white room because to move forward, I have to remember exactly what he took from me. The elevator dings, ground floor. Smile, he commands. I smile and we walk out into the flashbulbs of the night. The dream is always the same. I am running through a long white hallway. The floor is tiled, the kind of linoleum that squeaks under your sneakers. The walls are blindingly bright, lit by buzzing fluorescent tubes that flicker like a dying heartbeat. There are doors on either side, hundreds of them, all closed, all handleless. I can hear a baby crying. It's a distant, thin sound, like a kitten mewling in a storm. I run toward the sound. I run until my lungs burn, until my legs feel like lead. I finally reach a door that is slightly ajar. I push it open, desperate to comfort the child, to hold it. But the room is empty. There is only a stainless steel table in the centre, and on the table there is nothing but a pile of ash. I wake up gasping. The air in the bedroom is cool, conditioned to a perfect 68 degrees, but I am drenched in sweat. My sheets, Egyptian cotton, thread count in the thousands, cling to my skin like a shroud. I sit up, pressing my hands to my chest, trying to force my heart to slow down. The digital clock glows red in the darkness. 3 a.m, the witching hour, the hour of ghosts. Beside me, the space is empty. Richard is still in his study, or maybe he fell asleep on the couch in the living room. I don't care. The empty space is a relief, but the emptiness inside me, that is the torture. I swing my legs out of bed and walk to the bathroom. My feet make no sound. I am a ghost in my own life. I turn on the tap, splashing cold water on my face. I look up at the mirror. The woman staring back is pale. Her eyes are haunted, but it's not the eyes I focus on. My gaze drops lower to my stomach. It's flat, perfectly flat, toned by the private yoga instructor Richard hired because he likes his trophy to look fit. I place my hand over my womb. 3, that is the number that is carved into my soul. 3 heartbeats that started, flickered, and were extinguished. Not by nature, not by accident, but by him. The first time was 5 years ago. I was 22. We had been married for a year. I was still in the honeymoon phase, or at least the phase where I thought if I just loved him enough, the darkness would go away. I remember staring at the pregnancy test in this very bathroom. 2 pink lines. Joy. That was my first reaction. Pure, unadulterated joy. I thought, this is it. This will change him. A baby will make us a real family. He won't be so angry anymore. I cooked a special dinner that night. I was trembling with excitement. When he came home, I sat him down. I gave him a small gift box, and inside was a pair of tiny baby booties I had bought that afternoon. I watched his face as he opened it. I waited for the smile. I waited for the tears of happiness. Instead, the temperature in the room dropped. He stared at the booties like they were a dead rat. Then he looked at me. His eyes were void of any emotion, just cold, hard calculation. Is this a joke? He asked. No, I beamed, though my smile was faltering. I'm pregnant, Richard. We're going to have a baby. He closed the box. He didn't slam it. He just closed it with a precise final click. Get your coat, he said. A what? Why? We are going to the doctor. But it's 8 p.m. The offices are closed. Not my doctor, he said. He drove me to a clinic in Queens. It wasn't a hospital. It was a nondescript brick building with blacked out windows. There was no sign out front. We entered through the back door. I was crying by then, begging, Richard, please, I want this baby, please. He held my arm. His grip was like an iron shackle. He didn't raise his voice. That was the scariest part. He was calm, reasonable, like he was explaining why we needed to fix a leaky faucet. Sneha, look at you, he said, smoothing my hair as I sobbed in the waiting room. You are a child yourself. You can't raise a baby. You're depressed. You're anxious. You have no money. What if I leave you? What will you do with a brat dragging you down? I'll manage. I choked out. Please. No, he said firmly. It doesn't fit the plan. My image. I can't have a young wife running around with a screaming infant. It looks messy. It looks like a mistake. A mistake. That's what he called our child. The doctor was a man with cold hands and breath that smelled of coffee and cigarettes. He didn't ask me if I wanted this. He just took the envelope of cash Richard handed him. They gave me a sedative. I tried to fight it, but the room started to spin. The last thing I remember is Richard standing in the corner, checking his watch, looking annoyed that this was taking so long. When I woke up, I was empty. The drive home was silent. He bought me ice cream on the way back, as if that would fix it. There, he said, patting my knee. Problem solved. Now we can go back to being happy. I died a little that night, but I survived. The second time was 2 years later. I tried to hide it. I thought if I could just get past the first trimester, if I could just show him the ultrasound, show him the heartbeat, he wouldn't be able to kill it. I wore baggy clothes. I learned to vomit silently so he wouldn't hear the morning sickness. But he monitors everything. He tracks my period on an app on his phone. He knows my cycle better than I do. One morning he cornered me in the kitchen. You're late, he said. It's just stress, I lied. He grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge and a blister pack of the pills from his pocket. He slammed them on the counter. I'm not stupid, Sneha. I won't go back to that clinic, I whispered, backing away. I won't do it. Then we'll do it here, he said. He forced me to take the pills, misoprostol. I refused. I clamped my mouth shut. He threw me against the refrigerator. He squeezed my jaw until I thought it would snap. He forced my mouth open and shoved the pills down my throat, pouring water in until I gagged and swallowed. Swallow it, he hissed. I will not have you ruin my life with your bastards. I spent the next 12 hours on the bathroom floor, bleeding, cramping, screaming in agony. He never came in to check on me. He turned up the volume on the television in the living room so he wouldn't hear my cries. I lost the baby on the cold tile floor, alone. That was the day I realised he wasn't just controlling. He was evil, pure, distilled evil. And then the third time, last year, this one hurts the most because I knew the truth by then. I knew about the Connecticut family. I knew he had 2 grown children. I realised then why he didn't want mine. It wasn't because he wasn't ready. It wasn't because I was too young. It was because he didn't want to dilute his legacy. He had his heirs, his perfect Ivy League twins, my children. My children would be complications. They would be threats to his legitimate family's inheritance. They would be proof of his infidelity. To him, my children were weeds in his perfect garden, and weeds must be pulled. When I found out I was pregnant the third time, I didn't tell him. I planned to run. That was the first time I truly thought about escaping. I thought, I will go to a shelter. I will live on the streets if I have to, but I will save this one. But he has eyes everywhere. He saw the search history on my laptop, prenatal vitamins. He didn't take me to a clinic. He didn't force pills down my throat. He took me to dinner. He insisted we'd go to this exclusive private club. I was suspicious, but I went. I only drank water. I didn't touch the wine. You look tired, darling, he said, sliding a glass of sparkling water toward me. Drink up. Hydration is important. I drank the water. 20 minutes later, I felt heavy. My limbs felt like they were made of concrete. My eyelids were drooping. I think I need to go home, I slurred. Of course, he smiled. Let's get you home. I don't remember the ride. I woke up in our bed the next morning. My body felt battered, sore, and deep inside that familiar hollow ache. He was sitting in the armchair reading the newspaper. What did you do? I whispered. He turned the page. You had a miscarriage, Sneha. It was very tragic. You started bleeding at the restaurant. I brought you home and called my private physician. He took care of you. You drugged me, I said, the realization crashing over me. You put something in the water. He lowered the paper. You were hysterical. You needed to be calmed down. The baby, it just wasn't meant to be. Nature took its course. Nature, he called his poison nature. I lay there, tears sliding into my ears. I knew he was lying. I knew he had his doctor perform the procedure while I was unconscious in our own bed. He had violated me in the most intimate, horrific way possible, all while I was sleeping. He stood up and walked to the side of the bed. He looked down at me, not with pity, but with annoyance. This has to stop, Stop, Sneha, he said. Your body is clearly not fit for this. You keep losing them. Maybe it's a sign. You are meant to be a wife, not a mother. Focus on that. He erased them. He erased 3 human beings. He erased the only things that would have been truly mine. I look at myself in the mirror now. The steam is cleared. The reflection is sharp. For a long time, I felt like a graveyard. I felt like I was walking around with 3 small ghosts clinging to my skirts. I felt ashamed. I felt like I had failed to protect them. But tonight, looking at the flat stomach that he paid so much money to keep flat, I feel something else. I am not a graveyard. I am a crime scene. And every crime scene holds evidence. He thinks he cleaned it up. He thinks because there are no birth certificates, no baby photos, that they didn't exist. He thinks because he paid the doctors and shredded the files, he is safe. But he forgot about memory. He forgot that I remember the name of the clinic in Queens. He forgot that I saved the blister pack of pills from the trash can wrapped in a tissue hidden inside the lining of my winter boots. He forgot that his private physician, Dr. Aris, left a prescription pad on the nightstand that morning. And I memorised the DEA number. I have the dates. I have the locations. I have the names. If I go to the police now, it's my word against his. But if I get those files from his office, if I get the financial records showing the cash withdrawals on those specific dates, if I get the emails between him and Dr. Aris, then it's not just a story, it's a case. I wash my face again. The water is freezing, but it wakes me up. He killed my children to protect his image, to protect his real family in Connecticut. Well, that image is about to get very dirty. I walk back into the bedroom. I stand over him for a moment. He is sleeping so peacefully. He looks like a fallen angel. I lean down close to his ear, but not close enough to wake him. You should have let me be a mother, I whisper into the dark, because now I have nothing left to lose, and a mother with nothing to lose is the most dangerous thing in the world. I slip back into bed and I pull the duvet up to my chin. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Tomorrow is the gala preparation. Tomorrow I go into the lion's den. I close my eyes. I don't see the white hallway anymore. I don't see the ash. I see fire and I am the one holding the match. The elevator ride to the 45th floor takes exactly 32 seconds. I know because I counted. 32 seconds for my ears to pop. 32 seconds to ascend from the noise of the street into the rarefied, oxygen-thinned air of Richard's kingdom. The doors slide open and the office hits you like a wall of ice. It's all glass and chrome, sterile and terrifyingly expensive. The carpet is so thick it swallows the sound of my heels. The air smells of white lilies and ozone. I step out, clutching my clutch bag like a shield. Inside the bag, my phone is recording. Mrs. Vance, so good to see you. Richard's executive assistant, Jessica, chirps from behind her marble fortress of a desk. She's young, ambitious and terrified of him. She looks at me with a mix of envy and pity. She sees the Cartier bracelet on my wrist, but she also sees the way I flinch when a door slams. Hello, Jessica. I smile. The mask is firmly in place. Is he in? He's in the conference room with the board of directors, she says, checking her screen. He said you can wait in his office. He shouldn't be long. Perfect. Thank you. I'll just make myself comfortable. I walk past her down the long corridor lined with modern art that looks like slashed canvases. I reach the double mahogany doors at the end. Richard's office, the inner sanctum. I push the doors open and step inside. The room is massive. 2 walls are entirely glass, offering a panoramic view of the Hudson River and the sprawling city grid. It's a view that says I own this. In the centre sits his desk, a slab of black obsidian. I close the door behind me. I lock it. My heart is thumping a frantic rhythm against my ribs. Thump, 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 thump. I have 5 minutes, maybe 10. I move to the desk. I don't sit in his chair. I don't dare. I go around to the drawers. Locked, of course. But Richard is arrogant. He believes he is untouchable. And because he is arrogant, he gets sloppy with the little things. I look at the keypad on the side of the desk drawer. It's a biometric scanner, but there's a backup number pad. I try the birthday again. 0704. Beep, beep. Red light. My stomach drops. He changed it. Or maybe he uses a different code for work. Think, Sneha. Think like him. What does he value? What is the most important thing in his world? Not me. Not his birthday. His money. I remember a conversation from months ago. He was bragging about the day he made his first million. October 12th, 1998. The day my life actually began, he had said. I type in 1012. Click. The lock disengages. A wave of dizziness hits me. I pull the drawer open. It's neatly organised. Files, ledgers, a black hard drive. I ignore the business contracts. I flip through the hanging folders until I see a tab that makes my blood run cold. Personal liabilities. I pull the file out and my hands are shaking so bad I almost drop it. I open it on the desk. It's me. It's a dossier on me. There are photos of me grocery shopping, photos of me at the park, surveillance logs. Subject entered Starbucks at 2 p.m. Subject returned home at 2:45 p.m. He has had me followed every day of our marriage. But that's not the worst part. I turn the page. There are medical records. Not mine, or at least not ones I signed. They are from Dr. Aris. Procedure, termination of pregnancy. Date, August 14th. Payment, $15,000 cash. Procedure, termination of pregnancy. Date May 2nd. Payment $15,000 cash. He kept the receipts. He actually kept the receipts for killing his own children. And then the final page, a document titled Exit Strategy. I scan the text and the words swim before my eyes. It's a legal draft for a divorce settlement, but it's not a settlement, it's a destruction plan. In the event of separation, subject will be committed to a mental health facility. Pre-existing history of instability. Evidence of self-harm. Fabricated. Parents' mortgage called in immediately. He has a plan to institutionalise me, to lock me away in a psych ward so I can never talk. I whip out my phone. I start snapping pictures of the documents. Click. Page 1. Click. Page 2. Click. The receipts. I'm moving fast, adrenaline flooding my system. I have the proof. I have the smoking gun. Suddenly, the doorknob turns. I freeze. The door is locked. They can't get in. Sneha! It's Richard's voice, muffled by the heavy wood. Panic, hot and white, explodes in my brain and I shove the papers back into the file. I jam the file back into the drawer. Sneha, open the door. His voice isn't loud. It's calm, which is worse. I close the drawer. I make sure it clicks shut. I look around wildly. I can't look like I was snooping. I grab a magazine from the side table and throw myself onto the leather sofa across the room and I try to slow my breathing. Sneha! The knob rattles violently this time. I stand up, smoothing my dress and walk to the door. I unlock it and pull it open. Richard is standing there. He looks immaculate in his navy suit, but his eyes are dark pits. He looks past me, straight at the desk and then back at me. Why was the door locked? He asked. I was changing. I lied. My strap broke. I had to fix it with a safety pin. I didn't want Jessica to walk in. He stares at me. The silence stretches thin and taut as a wire. He steps into the office and closes the door behind him. The click of the latch sounds like a gunshot. You were changing, he repeats. Yes. He walks over to me. He circles me like a shark circling a swimmer. You look flushed, darling. Your heart is racing. I can see the pulse in your neck. He reaches out and touches my throat. His fingers are ice cold. I'm just nervous about the gala, I whisper. He smiles. It's a terrifying, humorless baring of teeth. You're a terrible liar, Sneha. You always have been. He walks to his desk. My breath hitches. He runs his hand over the obsidian surface. He looks at the drawer. Did you find what you were looking for? He asks casually, as if asking if I found the restroom. I freeze. I don't know what you mean. The code, he says, 1012. A bit sentimental, don't you think? But effective. He knows. Somehow he knows. Maybe there's a silent alarm on the drawer. Maybe there's a camera I missed. I didn't touch anything, I say, backing away toward the door. Don't, he snaps. The command cracks through the air like a whip. Don't move. He opens the drawer. He doesn't look at the files. He reaches deeper into the back. He pulls out a gun. It's a sleek black pistol. I don't know guns, but this looks heavy. It looks real. He places it on the desk and a heavy thud against the stone. Sit down, he says. I collapse onto the sofa. My legs have turned to water. He picks up the gun and walks around the desk. He leans against the edge, crossing his ankles, holding the weapon loosely in his hand. You went to Greenwich, he says. The world stops. I don't bother denying it, he interrupts. My neighbour's security camera picked up a woman standing across the street on Tuesday, wearing a hoodie, hiding behind a tree. My security team ran the facial recognition. It took them about 10 minutes to identify you. He shakes his head, looking disappointed. I gave you everything a life most women would kill for, and you go stalking my family, my real family. They are your family, I say, my voice trembling, but gaining a sudden reckless edge. And what am I? A pet? A prisoner? You are an investment, he says coldly, one that is failing to yield a return. He raises the gun and he points it at me. The barrel looks like a black eye staring into my soul. I can see the rifling inside. Please, I whisper. Tears start to spill. Richard, please. Do you know how easy it would be? He muses, tilting his head. I own this building. The security feeds are on a loop that I control. I could pull this trigger right now. Bang! I flinch. And then, he continues, I place the gun in your hand. I wipe my prints. I tell the police you came here distraught. You were hysterical about your inability to conceive. You blamed yourself. You took my gun from the drawer and ended it. He smiles. It's a tragic story. The grieving barren wife. The papers will love it. I'll play the devastated widower. I might even start a charity in your name. I stare at him. I believe him. He would do it. He has erased 3 of my children. Erasing me is just paperwork. Why? I choke out. Why do you hate me so much? I don't hate you, he says, sounding genuinely surprised. I don't hate my car when it gets a flat tire. I just fix it or I replace it. He stands up and walks toward me. He presses the barrel of the gun against my forehead. The metal is cold. It burns. You have become a liability, Sneha, he whispers. You know too much. You've seen the files. You've seen the house. I won't tell, I sob. I swear I'll go away. I'll disappear. No, he says. You won't because you're angry. I see it in your eyes. You want revenge. He cocks the gun. The click is the loudest sound I've ever heard. I should end it right now. I close my eyes. I wait for the flash. I wait for the darkness. I think of my parents. I think of the babies I never held. I'm sorry, I think. I failed. A second passes, 2. Then he laughs. He pulls the gun away. But not here, he says, uncocking the weapon. Not in the office. Blood is so hard to get out of this carpet. He walks back to the desk and drops the gun into the drawer. He slams it shut. Get up, he commands. I open my eyes. I'm shaking so hard, my teeth are chattering. We are going home, he says, and you are going to pack a bag. Where are we going? You need a vacation, he says. Somewhere quiet, somewhere far away. There's a facility upstate, very private, very secure. They specialise in troubled women. The exit strategy, the mental institution. No, I whisper, you can't. I can, he says, grabbing my arm and hauling me up, and I will. By tomorrow morning, you will be checked in, and you won't be checking out until I say so, which might be never. He drags me toward the door. And Sneha, he says, leaning into my ear, if you try to run, if you try to scream in the lobby, remember the photos of your parents. I will make the call before you even hit the pavement. We walk out of the office. Jessica smiles at us. Have a good evening, Mr. Vance, Mrs. Vance. Good night, Jessica, Richard says charmingly. He grips my arm so tight I can feel a bruise forming. He marches me to the elevator. The doors close. We are alone again. You brought this on yourself, he says, looking at his reflection in the mirrored wall. He adjusts his tie. I look at myself. I look broken. But as I stare at my reflection, my hand brushes against my clutch bag, the phone. I took the photos. I have the evidence. He thinks he has won. He thinks he is taking me to a prison upstate. He thinks I am too terrified to move, but he made a mistake and he didn't check my bag and he didn't check my phone. He showed me the gun. He showed me death. And in doing so, he took away the last thing holding me back, fear of the unknown. I know exactly what happens next. If I go to that facility, I die. Maybe not physically, but I cease to exist. So I have nothing left to lose. The elevator descends. 30, 29, 28. I look at the floor numbers counting down. It's a countdown to my end or his. I take a deep breath. I am not going to that facility. Tonight is the night. It has to be. The elevator hits the ground floor. Smile, he says. I don't smile. I look him dead in the eye. Let's go, I say. He looks surprised by my tone, but he dismisses it. He thinks I'm resigned. We walk out into the cool night air. The limo is waiting. The driver opens the door. Richard shoves me inside. As the door closes, sealing us in, I slide my hand into my bag and wrap my fingers around my phone. And the barrel of the gun was cold. But my rage is white hot and the night is just beginning. The partition of the limousine is up. It's a thick black wall of privacy glass that separates us from the driver, but it feels like it separates us from the entire world. Richard is typing on his phone. The blue light illuminates his face, casting deep shadows under his eyes. He looks calm. He looks like a man who has just taken out the trash and is now checking his calendar for tomorrow's meetings. He thinks it's over. He thinks he's won. He's already already mentally moved on from me, planning his life after he drops me off at the wellness centre upstate, a place where people go in and memories don't come out. My hand is inside my clutch bag. My thumb rests on the screen of my phone. The brightness is turned all the way down. I'm not looking at it, but I know exactly what is on the screen. I have drafted an email. Attached are 24 photos. The photos of the personal liabilities file. The photos of the abortion receipt signed in his handwriting. The photos of the fake medical records. The photos of the exit strategy outlining his plan to frame me and destroy my parents, and the recipient list. It's not just one person. I spent the last 10 minutes of the ride blindly typing in addresses I memorized over the years. The New York Times at City Desk, the FBI tip line, the IRS whistleblower portal, the Ethics Committee of the State Board, and one more. Elizabeth Vance, his wife, the real one, the woman in Greenwich who thinks her husband is a hero. My thumb hovers over the send button. My heart isn't racing anymore. It has stopped. It feels like the entire universe has paused, holding its breath. If I do this, there is no going back. He will lose everything. His reputation, his freedom, his family, and a man with nothing left to lose is a rabid animal. He might kill me right here in this car. But then I think of the empty nursery in my mind. I think of the 3 heartbeats he stopped because they were inconvenient. I think of my mother's face in the photo he threatened to burn. He declared war on me 6 years ago. I just didn't realise it until tonight. I press send. The progress bar appears on the screen, sending 20%, 50%. The limo hits a pothole. Richard looks up, annoyed. Stop fidgeting, he snaps. Sorry, I say, 0.80%. We need to stop at the apartment first, he says, returning to his phone. You need clothes, and I need to get your passport. I'm not having you run off to Canada. Okay, I say. Sent. The word pops up on the screen, small and innocent. Message sent. A strange sensation washes over me. It's not joy. It's not fear. It's weightlessness. The chains didn't fall off. They just dissolved. The car pulls up to the curb of our building. The doorman opens the door. Good evening, Mr. Vance. Mrs. Vance. Richard nods, ignoring him. He grips my elbow, that familiar, bruising grip, and steers me toward the lobby. We ride the elevator up in silence. The numbers climb. 10, 20, 30. This is the last time, I tell myself. This is the last time I will ever see these numbers. The doors open. We step into the penthouse. It's quiet. The city lights are blazing outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, indifferent to the violence inside. Go, Richard says, pointing to the bedroom. Pack a bag. Essentials only. You have 10 minutes. The driver is waiting. He walks to the bar cart. He pours the scotch. He always pours scotch. It's his victory lap. I walk into the bedroom, but I don't go to the closet. I go to the window. I look out at the skyline. I take a deep breath, filling my lungs with the recycled air of this golden prison for the last time. Then I walk back out to the living room. Richard is standing by the window, glass in hand, looking out at his kingdom. He hears my footsteps. That was fast, he says without turning around. I hope you packed warm clothes. It gets cold upstate. I didn't pack, I say. He turns slowly. He swirls the amber liquid in his glass. His eyebrows raise in mock surprise. Excuse me? I'm not going. I say, my voice is steady. It's a voice I haven't heard in 6 years. It's my voice. He sighs, setting the glass down with a heavy thud. Sneha, we are not doing this. I have a gun in the other room, remember. Do not make me drag you out of here. You can't, I say. I can do whatever I want, he snarls, taking a step toward me. I own you. No, I say, you don't, and you don't own this town anymore either. I hold up my phone. Check your email, Richard. He freezes. What? The files, I say, the receipts, the blackmail on my parents, the medical records from Dr. Aris. I sent them. He stares at me. He blinks, trying to process the words. You sent them where? To everyone, I say. The Times, the FBI, the IRS. His face goes pale. A sickly grey pallor spreads under his tan. You're lying. You wouldn't dare. And I continued, taking a step closer to him. I sent them to Elizabeth. The silence that follows is absolute. It is the silence of a bomb that has just detonated, but the sound wave hasn't hit yet. You, his voice is a whisper, you sent them to my wife. She knows, I say. She knows about me. She knows about the apartment. She knows you used company funds to pay for my abortions. She knows everything. Suddenly, his phone, sitting on the coffee table, begins to vibrate. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It dances across the glass surface. He looks at it. The screen lights up. The name is displayed in big, bright letters. Home. It's not the penthouse. It's Greenwich. bitch. He looks at the phone, then at me. There is pure terror in his eyes. For the first time in 6 years, the monster is afraid. Answer it, I say. He doesn't move. He looks like he's having a stroke. If you don't answer, I say, she'll just call the police. Actually, I imagine the police are already getting the calls from the journalists. You have maybe 20 minutes before the sirens start. You bitch, he whispers, but there is no power in it. He is crumbling. He is calculating the fallout. His assets were frozen. His reputation incinerated. His wife is leaving him. His children find out he is a murderer. He lunges for the phone, but he doesn't answer it. He fumbles with it, his hands shaking so violently he drops it. I watch the powerful Richard Vance crawling on his knees on the Persian rug, trying to pick up a cell phone. It is pathetic. My parents, I say, my voice cutting through his panic. If anything happens to them, if they get a flat tire, if they get a foreclosure notice, and if they even stub a toe, the FBI has a separate email scheduled to send in 24 hours detailing your specific threat against them. So you better pray they live long, happy lives. He looks up at me from the floor. His eyes are wide, red-rimmed. You ruined me. No, Richard, I say, I just turned on the lights. I turn around. Where are you going? He screams. You can't leave. You can't leave me with this mess. I walk to the door. I don't look back. Sneha, he howls. It's a primal sound, a sound of total defeat. I open the heavy front door. I step out into the hallway. I press the elevator button. The door slid open immediately, and as if they were waiting for me. I step inside. I press the button for the lobby. As the doors slide shut, I catch one last glimpse of the penthouse. I see Richard standing in the middle of the room, the phone pressed to his ear, his shoulders slumped, listening to the destruction of his life on the other end of the line. The doors close. The elevator descends. 40, 30, 20. My knees start to shake. The adrenaline is fading, leaving me weak. I lean against the mirrored wall. I look at myself. I am crying. But these aren't tears of sadness. They are tears of release. It's the poison leaving my body. The elevator dings. Lobby. The doorman looks up, surprised to see me alone. Mrs. Vance? Is everything all right? Do you need the car? I stop. I look at him. No, I say, I don't need the car, and it's not Mrs. Vance, it's Sneha. I push open the heavy glass doors of the building and step out onto the sidewalk. The night air is cold, biting. It smells of exhaust and roasted nuts and garbage. It smells like life. I start walking. I don't know where I'm going. I have no money in my pocket, just a few dollars I stashed. I have no coat, just the dress on my back. But I hear something in the distance. Sirens! Wailing, screaming sirens, getting louder and louder. They are coming for the penthouse. They are coming for the monster in the tower. I stop on the corner and look back up. Way up, 40 stories high, I see the lights of the penthouse. I touch my stomach one last time. I did it, I whispered to the 3 souls I carry in my heart. I got him. I turn my back on the building. I merge into the crowd of people walking down the avenue. To them, I am just another girl in the city, just another face. But I know the truth. I am a survivor. I am the woman who burned down the castle. And for the first time in 6 years, as I disappear into the beautiful, chaotic anonymity of New York City, I am finally truly awake.